I decided to make this video because it was another thought type change that I had. Um, a lot of the people that are fighting back against things like transgenderism and all the rest of this, again, I get worried about this because there are only an exceptionally few transgender people. The rest of them are actually more likely transvestites suffering from transvestitism than they are transgender. And the transgenders who are not the outspoken ones, who are not the big loud noisy ones, they're going to reap all of the hatred that comes from people who are pissed off about these people being idiots. When transgenders actually genuinely need help, these people have just overtaken it. And I can show that in a couple of ways. I've mentioned it in a couple of different videos. But what I wanted to bring up here was everybody keeps talking about biology, 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 biology. Well, the thing is that there's two parts of medical study kind of really separated from each other. And they basically say this is the biological physical part, this is the mental health part, which is why you go see a psychiatrist for the medicine, but you go see the counselors for dealing with the internal, all of the thoughts. Okay. There was basically 70 years ago, or a little over 70 years ago, kind of like with the Catholics where they had the council that came together and created the Bible. These are all stories that have been around for a million years, and they all put them into a book. And they decided which ones. Same thing happened with mental health. People had been individually studying different things. I mean, Freud had been around since, very early 1900s. It wasn't 1950 when they did this. Okay, so this is all mental health stuff has been around for, well over 100 years. It's been studied really hard for 100 years, but 70 years ago, they all got together and said, let's make our own Bible. And they did. They made a mental health Bible. It's called the DSM. It's currently in its 5th revision. They create a vision or a version, okay? They put it out and they say, okay, and then they send out like page updates and section updates and things like that as things progress to keep it updated, but they don't revise the whole book all at once, except for like every 15, 20 years. Now, this book is the Bible. If you go into this book, they have categorized every mental illness in the book. If you're psychotic, it's in there. If you have Tourette's, it's in there. If you have PTSD, it's in there. If you have anything, gender dysphoria, okay, transvestitism, these are all things in the DSM, okay, Diagnostic Systems Manual or something like that. They're in there. And each one of them has 2 parts. One is a list of symptoms and characteristics of what makes that condition unique. Why did we name a condition this? Why do we have a condition this? And then there's treatments, recommended treatments or list of different treatments that may have worked, may not have worked, and this is where the doctor comes into play. Is he's got to sit there and look at the person, he's got to figure out which one you are, and then he's got to figure out, okay, let's kind of taper this to work with you, because each physical body can be a little bit unique. Maybe one person needs 500 milligrams of Tylenol and the other one needs 1,000. You don't know. You have to, that's where the doctor comes in. And the thing is that every single one of these things is listed. Single one of these has a very clear description. Okay, I'm going to walk over a couple of these again. Again, gender dysphoria is a condition. You cannot just claim, anybody can say they're gender dysphoric. No. Gender dysphoria is not the belief that you don't like your body. It's not that bland and generic. Being a transvestite does not mean that, oh, you hate your body. Okay, transvestitism can actually be including that you don't like your body. Okay, but there can be other reasons why you are cross-dressing. Okay, and you're dressing as something else, or you're playing some other piece. It can be simply because it's fun. It could be because, well, I get sexual gratification from it. It could be because any number of a million reasons why, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. Oh, I want to try to be this, and I want to play a girl on the video game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the reason is. It's an individual, okay, who has, for whatever reason, decided this is what they're going to do. Now, a caveat to that is the gender dysphoric, okay? And the gender dysphoric is not somebody who cross-dresses. That's not something that's in the category and says, oh, the person cross-dresses. No, the transgenderism is the act of cross-dressing as a treatment. Okay, that's your treatment. Okay, that's you taking Tylenol. Okay, that's what that is. Okay, these people are oh, they're smoking pot for fun. They're smoking pot for fun. They like to get high. They're woo. This person is doing it because they're in pain. This person is doing it for medical reasons. They're in pain. Okay, this is a mental health condition. This is a mental health condition. You're doing it recreationally. You're just like, you're a drug addict. That's what you're doing, basically. This person is doing it because it's the closest they can get to something they know can never be. Okay, it's like sitting there and saying, let's say, for example, I wanted to be in space. I thought I was supposed to be in space, and space is just my dream, and I have to have it. And in my core, it's the only way anything. They might go, you know what, let's put you in a balloon and see if we can get you as high as we can. We know you're never going to get to space, but let's get you as high and pretend. Let's make a small space capsule. Oh, let's make a fake thing and we can pretend. Isn't it nice to just get away and feel like you're safe for just a minute? It's okay. You're okay here. This is close. This is close. It's as close as you can get. We know that what you want is never going to be a reality. We just don't want you killing yourself because there's no other reason to live. Okay? That's what we're doing. Okay? We're basically trying to save the person's life. All right? Not what these other people are doing. Okay? This person is concentrated on looking at themselves and saying, I hate you. They're not oppressed by everybody else in the world. They don't care about that. They are oppressing themselves. It is the conundrum of saying, I can never have what I know is unrealistic. Okay? That's why I made that video with what the dead giveaways are. And it was really upsetting me at the time because my daughter has suffered a lot because of all of these fakers, and they've caused a lot of hatred towards her, even though it's towards that, even though it's supposed to be directed at them. But the DSM has all of these diagnostic systems, and you had a pandemic recently where the far left was taking on this very scientific stance. Follow the science, follow the science, follow the doctors, follow the doctors. Of course, they were silencing a lot of doctors and then only propagating the ones they wanted, but still, follow the science. Okay, well then let's follow the science. Okay, we need some serious looks here because this has not gone away. The DSM still exists. And I've seen these people and it's like, oh, I'm a teacher and you're a cross-dresser, you're doing all of this. Okay, You're telling me you have a mental illness, and you're actually demonstrating a different mental illness and saying that it's another one. Okay, that's deceptive. If in fact they have a mental illness, if in fact they actually have gender dysphoria and they're going to be a teacher, I could have swore teachers have to have background checks to make sure that they're not a bad person. Now here's the thing about the DSM. The DSM is a list of conditions that are bad. They're a no-no. You don't want these. You don't want PTSD. You don't want Tourette's. You don't want autism. You don't want these things. These are bad. These are not society things. This is not a matter of, oh, well, society tells us that we have to be girls by wearing dresses and this and that and the other. Okay, those are a society thing, but your inability to function in your own, as your own actual, in fact, gender, which, as we've explained before, is a biological assignment, because man is based on biology. Its definition is under biology. Okay? And it's like, oh, follow the science, but we don't want to follow English language. We want to follow the science, but we don't want to follow the mental health science. I'm serious. Go ask any doctor, any psych doctor, what's the DSM? Just say, is that basically the Bible of mental health people? Is it the conglomerate of all mental health? Is it like the summation of mental health, you know, disorders and all the rest of this? And they're going to look at you and go, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. That's our baby. That's our go-to. Okay? That's our basic guide. Okay? We got to do a lot of detail work for every individual, but as a basic good, oh, that's the reference point. That's it. That's the one. That is their encyclopedia. That's their little Bible. Okay? And it's like, because everything these people are doing, if you just break it down there, goes completely against everything that we have as being good. If you have a teacher who claims to be a transgender, okay, first of all, that's telling you they are in the treatment of gender dysphoria. Okay, now you can sit there and say, well, we're not allowed to know their health stuff, and it's like, well, if you're cross-dressing, I need to know whether you are doing this because you're a transvestite or doing it as treatment for transgender. And part of a background check for teachers is just making sure this person is not a threat or going to cause harm in some way to our kids. Well, I don't want my kid coming back to class and finding a dead teacher. See, gender dysphoric people have a high suicide rate, exceptionally high. They're not happy people. They're very grumpy a lot of times, and they have a lot of problems, you know, with different areas. They can't focus as good because they're constantly, you know, almost OCD on this problem that they see. And you're telling me that person is going to be teaching my kid? Why don't you just tell me that we're going to put, you know, a complete schizophrenic in charge of the class, or any number of things? And I'm not saying that the person who has a mental health issue cannot perform functions or cannot do a job, but have you done any kind of certification to make sure this person is not going to be a threat to other people? Now, it's actually it's public knowledge, and it's been done in a lot of different places, but it's known that I was one of the rescue workers for the Oklahoma City bombing, and I suffer from PTSD. Okay? I am neither a danger to myself or others. Uh, I have kind of like a rescue work style PTSD versus a combat PTSD versus a trauma victim type PTSD. Um, if you would, we don't necessarily differentiate, but if that can be helpful in knowing what type of episodes that you might have. And it's my job to mitigate my symptoms. Mine. I'm responsible to make sure that I'm not a danger to anyone else or others. Okay? If you have schizophrenia and you take medicine so that you're not a crazy person in public and doing all this stuff, it's your responsibility to do that. You are responsible for taking it. They found a way to help you. You can do this. Now, by taking your medication and making yourself stable, you can have a be healthy life and do many things. Okay? I can't go work in my previous work area because the stress overloads me and I end up having flashback episodes a lot. Okay? So, and it affects me in a lot of other ways. So I can't do that. I can't. Can I sue my employer for saying, Peter, I'm sorry, we can't employ you anymore because we have to provide a safe environment here at work? No. No. If you're coming into work and you're dressing that way, does your treatment interfere with the class? Well, you're bringing sex and you're bringing cross-dressing and you're bringing stuff that is typically, because again, transgenders the few, transvestites are the max, are you bringing in a subject that parents don't need to expose their children to at such a young age? What happens if you get suicidal? Do we have a doctor that's said that you're not suicidal and that you don't have suicidal ideation and suffer from these issues? Do you not have this and that? If a person was schizophrenic and murderous, would they pass background checks to become a teacher? No. No, they wouldn't. So why is it that we're letting individuals who have mental illnesses become teachers and we think that this is the greatest thing since sliced cheese? You know why? Because it's the same reason parents are now taking their children to drag shows. They think it's amazing. It's trendy. Oh, I'm on the top. And I'm gonna try to keep this down here. So go through the DSM. Most of these people, if you're sitting there and saying you have a disease, if you look at somebody and say, are you a man or a woman? And let's say they're a man pretending to be a woman, and they go, I'm a woman. I'm a woman. And you go, well, wait a minute. A trans woman is a person who has transformed their biology to be that of a woman. Okay? They've transformed their appearance away from what biologically they are to be a woman. Are you biologically a man? Do you have an XY chromosome? I'm a woman. Do you what was the gender that your doctor said that you were when you were born? He said I was a boy. Okay. First of all, he didn't assign it. Okay. He diagnosed you. He said, okay, I see you have swollen lymph nodes. I have this and that and the other. I see you have a wiener. I see you have a vagina. I'm diagnosing you with your sex. I'm identifying you. I can see what you are. He's a medical specialist in identifying different types of species of the human. Of this, yeah. You were diagnosed, not assigned. If they sit there and do that, then you've got a key piece there. Number one, they're being deceptive. Okay? They know they're not a woman, but they're being deceptive to make it appear as if they're delusional. Okay? They're lying to you or they're lying to themselves, but they're being deceptive. Okay? And so that takes it away from being delusional in its fact, because delusion, again, falls under different categories. Okay, you can have multiple issues that have the same symptom listed under them, but they're all unique in their totality, so you can identify which one is which. They're not the one that has the delusion. They know they don't have a delusion. They're being deceptive about it. Being deceptive keys you back to where it's Munchausen's. Munchausen being an individual who's lying about their condition in order to gain the benefits, whatever benefits they see. Doesn't matter whether it's monetary or whatever. Stolen valor, you're pretending to be a vet in order to get a discount or get benefits or any number of things, okay, or get social credit. It's the same thing. Either they are claiming to be transgender, okay, they're acting like a transvestite and claiming to be transgender, okay, or they are a transgender, or they are a transvestite and they're claiming to be something else. It doesn't matter. They're being deceptive about what they are. So it keys to the fact that they have Munchausen's, and it's more likely that they're just doing it because they're trying to steal benefits. So again, these type of things would knock a person out from being a teacher, and I don't see why this isn't getting flagged. So go talk to your little buddies and say, excuse me, don't we believe in science? Don't we believe in science? Aren't we supposed to believe the doctors? How about we believe the book that's been around for the last 70 years, that is the culmination of all mental health studies and everything from the past 200 years before that, put all together and organized and agreed as a huge consensus of all mental health people. They came together to put this together as their consensus. You know, that's the book. That's the authority on it. So why aren't we listening to it? You know, ask them about that. I'm seriously big on this whole thing. We need to start calling out these people, because it's going to hurt the actual transgenders, and it's not their fault. You're not hearing from them because they are by default more backstaged. They're more quiet and subdued and introverted, if you would, about the whole thing. So enjoy.